So, Clash of the Elite Season 4. The main big question from a lot of people. Are we cooked? No. Because this isn't the same situation as One Frame Man or PNG Log that are IPs from the same company, Bandai Namco. This is KADOKAWA. And we all know KADOKAWA has produced a lot of anime, including The Eminence in Shadow. And a lot of people have complained about the character designs of Clash of the Elite. For example, this comment that commented on my video, saying that I can praise the designer's work all I want, but it doesn't compare to Tomose Sensei's. And I did respond saying, of course it doesn't. Tomose Sensei's illustrations are incomparable because those are very detailed illustrations that are still images. Anime is an animation movement that makes images move instead of a still frame. And that's a given fact, okay? However, he replied saying, has your tune changed yet? You spent the whole video saying it was identical to the manga and light novel and that anyone complaining is crazy. The fact that they reused an old poster already discredits your argument. Ayano Koji is far from being the light novel version. Whatever you may think about the reuse of the old poster of Season 2, it's not exactly a reuse. The background, yes, sure, it is a reuse. The character designs aren't. And at the same time, the part when I said people complaining is crazy, of course they are crazy. But I'm also not saying that it is not okay to complain. I did say on my video essay that it's okay to give it criticism. However, if you're not a good critique and just blindly hating on the anime because it's for the sake of hating the anime, why are you calling yourself a critique when you're not even giving it a fair share of criticism by giving it the good and the bad? People have complained about the designs of seasons 1 to 3. The same goes from what I heard of the light novel of The Eminence in Shadow. The light novel fans of The Eminence in Shadow have complained about the anime adaptation's character designs and the first episode, because the first episode of the anime literally jumped to volume 4.
What?
However, that is the director's vision, because the anime of The Eminence in Shadow proved us that we are wrong, because the director has a vision and that vision paid off. And the same goes for the character designs. The light novel fans have complained about the illustrations of the character designs of the anime, because Shadow is supposed to have his face covered by the shadow and his eyes only red and purple-ish with the purple flames or whatever, because people aren't supposed to see his face. That's the complaints about Shadow's face from the light novel fans. However, when we all saw the anime, obviously we as a viewer can see the face, but them as a part of the story, as a part of the narrative, as a part of the plot of the series, they can't see it as we do, because we are the viewers. We are the observers. We know who he is, but they don't. It's a visual storytelling. Keep it in mind. Don't be fucking stupid.
Daddy, chill.
Now, the same goes for the anime of Clash of the Elites Season 4. I love the new changes of the character design because they're leaning towards the similarity of the light novel's illustrations and the manga's character designs. But people still complain. And now they're reverting back saying that they love Seasons 1, 2, and 3's character design. I still love the Seasons 1, 2, and 3 character design because they have a very distinct look to them. But seeing Ayano Koji's look throughout the season, it's not the character designer's fault that the art consistency of Clash of the Elite is ridiculous in Season 2 and some parts of Season 3. And people have mentioned that this is like kinda cartoony. I actually don't mind it at all. Animation is an experimentation. Well, I for one am learning about animation, while my friend, who I keep on talking about, the one that I'm gonna collab with when it comes to our animation projects in the future, is the one who has more knowledge in animation because she is animating. While I do stop motion animation, she does drawings, animations in general, 2D animations. While I don't. I only have some knowledge of animation. Listen, I'm not a book of knowledge, okay? I'm not someone who's very knowledgeable about animation entirely. I'm learning as well. The same goes for you. I'm educating you guys when it comes to character designs, illustrations, because if you're gonna compare an illustration to an animation movement, the reason why the character designs of the anime has some simplicity into it, and to our eyes it's more leaning towards the light novel's illustration and manga's art, you guys still complain that it isn't, because it's way more cartoony, it's way more simple, because of the fact that it's animation. The character designers design their character because it's gonna move. They lessen the detail at times, and they lessen the details when it comes to animating them. So yes, I am still sticking to what I said. The character design did a good job. The character designer did an amazing job, a beautiful job when it comes to designing the characters, because this art of the poster reminded me so much of the early season, that is season 1 of Clash of the Elite's art, and plus the dim light, it reminded me of how episode 1 of season 1 ended. The dim light, the darker tone, the darker theme of the end of episode 1 of season 1 in the classroom. So yes, if you were to compare an illustration that was heavily focused by the illustrator, the GOAT, Tomosu Sensei, and compared to the character designer who is mostly designing the characters because they're gonna hand it to the animators and it is their referential material to animate these characters in the anime, that they will also lessen the detail even further. It's also like saying and comparing that to a very zoomed out character that has no detail, lesser detail, when it had way more detail up front, up close. Yeah, that's the kind of criticism that you're doing.
You're an idiot.
And this isn't Shounen, this is Seinen. So if you're actually thinking of having an animation that has in Shounen anime like Demon Slayer, JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, or anything like One Punch Man, throw that out the window, because this is a Seinen anime. Expect that animation to have it something like episode 12 of season 2. And if you didn't like that because of how realistic the animation movements are, then don't, because this isn't some shonen very artistic approach of animation action scene, okay? Throw that out there. And also be glad that it's Lerche again, because Lerche is very passionate about Clash of the Elite, if you haven't noticed. And if you're gonna say, oh, look at what they did with season 2 and season 3, oh, they suck, they are an L studio, that's why they are called L Lerche. Shut up. I enjoyed season 3 the most. Season 2, art consistency hindered our enjoyment to the season. It didn't have the charm of season 1, but season 2 still paid off, because even though they are rushed, Kadokawa rushed the production of the anime, it still fully paid off for anime enjoyers. It worked because it's not a still frame like the One Sliding Man, One Frame Man, or PNG lock. Every episode has its own movement, although some of the episodes are a bit wonky because of production schedule. But I'm not saying most of them are like One Frame Man or PNG Lock, where all their budget are going to be handled to one specific episode or one finale episode. Studio Lerche didn't do that for season 2. Even though the production is super rushed, they outsourced. Still, there are movements. It's not just slideshows, PNGs, one frame. It's not as horrible as PNG Lock or One Frame Man at all. It is bad because of production, but that isn't Studio Lerche's fault. It's the production committee, or like I said, as I always advocate, Kadokawa, the producers. But the producers production committee, Kadokawa, actually delayed Studio Lerche's Clash of the Elite season 3. Our voices were heard, and probably Studio Lerche's voice was heard. They heard the fans advocating the art consistency sucked in season 2, and that is why it was further improved upon in season 3. Although some are still a bit wonky, but it is a further enhancement than season 2. Not the same as season 1, still an improvement nonetheless. With that delay, it improved the anime. Now, if you're gonna ask me about season 4 of Clash of the Elite, yes, I am very much confident about this season, way more than season 3 and season 2. Because Studio Lerche KADOKAWA didn't release the teaser trailer until they are ready with the pre-animated trailer. And now that they released another promotional video for the voice actors, the casting of the new season of Clash of the Elite, they only showed some snippets of the anime, and that is it. They called it a day. They didn't release a main PV unlike ReZero because they're taking their time. Unlike ReZero, Studio White Fox always put their passion project into one specific anime. Studio Lerche is a good studio. I think people failed to recognize that and are just really hating on it because if they hate on it, they're cool guys, I guess. If I have my complaints about Studio Lerche's adaptation of Clash of the Elite, I will fully advocate it. But I'm not saying that everything is bad, just like some people make it out to be of Clash of the Elite. The fandom of the light novel of Clash of the Elite is insane. Not all of them are like this. These loud minorities are making it super intense, which makes them the majority because of how loud they are. Yes, we can complain all we want about the Clash of the Elite anime. However, give it credit because it is not a lazy anime. Because if it were lazy, we're gonna have a One Punch Man Season 3 treatment or Blue Lock Season 2 treatment. Studio Lerche wouldn't be adapting this anime if they're not confident to do it again. Studio Lerche has been the studio ever since season 1, and they didn't back out from this project. You know that they are fully dedicated. They are passionate about this project. Now, if you're gonna ask me about the episode count of this season, I'm sad to say that I feel like it's gonna have 13 episodes once more. They're gonna go all out to volume 4.5 because that is the first semester arc of year 2. It's gonna end in volume 4.5 as the epilogue of first semester of the second year. And if you're gonna complain about the adaptation of the light novels, think again. If you haven't checked out my last video, the director of this anime is also directing another anime of the season of April 2026. And some people are calling it a red flag, but I really don't see it as a red flag. I feel like the director has enough time to cook for Clash of the Elite. This director is way more competent because of, based on his resume, I feel like he is good enough to be directing this anime. Origairu episode 5, that is one of the most, if not the most high praised episode because it's a very iconic episode because of one specific moment, the highlight of the episode.
俺は優しい女の子は嫌いだ。ほんの一言挨拶を交わせば気になるし、メールが行き交えば心がざわつく。電話なんかかかってきた日には着信履歴を見てつい頬が緩む。だが知っている。それが優しさだということを。
Not only that, I did tell you that I love the case study of Vanitas. And this director is also a part of the episode directions of the case study of Vanitas season 1 and season 2, or part 1 or part 2.
そんなんだからお前たちは君もノエも
黙って。そんなに私に殺されたいなら今は休むことに集中して。
じゃん
これヤトにあげる。
おお、
ミニお社
作ったの？はい、兄の道具を借りたんです。作り始めたら楽しくなっちゃって、これでちょっとは元気に。
泣くか
お社をいただくっていうのは 私たちにとってとっても光栄なことよ。それはありがとうとかお願いしますとか人からの思いの証だから。
ああ、もうせっかくもらったお社に垂らすんじゃねえぞ。
And a unit director of Rascal Does a Dream of a Sister Venturing Out movie. So, am I worried? Not really. I'm actually way more confident about this season, because I feel like Studio Lerche is cooking for this season. The new art style, the new direction, it's very refreshing for a new arc, for a new year of Clash of the Elite. And if you're worried about the writing, the narrative of Clash of the Elite anime, it's gonna be kind of the same of seasons 1, 2, and 3, because yeah, it's the same writers, screenplay writers. So yeah, if you're worried about the KOTE S4,
これでいい。これでいい。これでいい。これでいい。But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
I did meme the heck out of that. I think I'm the first one to actually point that out. I pointed that out ever since season 2 and 3 were airing at the time. I made the meme of KOTE S4 and compiling it all up. So if you're still worried about that, still be worried about that. No. It's a fair judgment to say that we can complain about that specific line because the anime can't do an audiobook, okay? Because if you want this anime to have 24 episodes max of a season, you'd get something like this, like The Time That I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 3. Yes, it'll be like that. And you know the reception of the fans? It's boring. However, light novel fans did say that it's light novel accurate and it's more about the lore, the engaging conversations, the engaging dialogues. However, that's not the issue. The issue of the dialogue heavy scenes is that there's not enough movements. Anime is supposed to have animation movements. That is why it's a visual storytelling, not an audiobook. I always advocate this and people still don't listen. If you're complaining about the anime's narrative, complain about it. But that doesn't discredit the fact that they're not doing an audiobook, they are doing an animation. So your argument about cutting the whole dialogues, cutting the whole monologues, the scenes, it's completely valid. However, you have to understand that this is a visual storytelling animation movement series compared to an audiobook or a physical book, digital book that you can just read on your own. This is supposed to appeal to anime audiences. And anime fans here, anime watchers here are here to watch the anime, not to read. Be grateful that it is Studio Lerche. It's still Studio Lerche because right now One Punch Man Season 3 this season is cooked. People still try to defend it, people still try to cope, but it's way worse than Season 2 of Clash of the Elite. Season 2 of Clash of the Elite has more movements. Way more movements than One Punch Man Season 3. And One Punch Man Season 3 is an action shonen anime, by the way. Believe it or not, Clash of the Elite is not a shonen anime. It's a seinen anime. This anime is supposed to have a lot of dialogues, a lot of scenes that have conversations. But this anime has way more movements than an action anime that's supposed to have big, explosive, action-packed scenes. Because it is one of the biggest IPs in the world, One Punch Man. But unfortunately, did not receive a good production by Bandai Namco. Because believe it or not, I feel like Kadokawa still cares about its fandom. Kadokawa knows that Clash of the Elite is not a very minor project. If you take a look at Days with My Stepsister, that is Kadokawa. You are judging it based solely on the title. When you watch the anime, when you see the series in its entirety, you're gonna have a different opinion. because it's definitely like Origairu, my teen romantic comedy. This is the sad reality. Just because other people say that it's this or that, they hate this because of this, and then you're gonna hate on it because they said so, is not a fair criticism. You are pretentious. You're pretending to hate on it as well because the other guy said so, because the other guy hated on it as well. If you're gonna have a criticism, be valid, be fair. Bring out the good, bring out the bad. Because unlike One Punch Man Season 3, it had good art. Now it has lost it due to its recent episode 6. So if you're gonna compare it to Clash of the Elite, that is a very unfair comparison. Because Clash of the Elite doesn't have that bad animation. And the art of Clash of the Elite isn't that bad. So if you were to compare it all you want. Because if you're gonna compare it and be fair, be critical about your criticism, you're gonna realize Clash of the Elite is way better. The teaser of Clash of the Elite Season 4 is much better than One Punch Man Season 3 in its entirety. One Punch Man Season 3 has its good moments in Episode 2, and some of it in Episode 3, but One Punch Man Season 3 is cooked, bro.
It's over. We are screwed.
Unlike Clash of the Elite, the staff is passionate about this project, and so is the production committee producer KADOKAWA. Even though they gave it a 13-episode project, they're also basing the statistics, the data, the fans' reception of the anime. They're not bored because it had animation movements. It's not just some heavy dialogue audiobook moments of something like That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Season 3. So yeah, if you were to get something out of this, hopefully you are a bit educated at this point, because if you're gonna compare it to something like that, and I don't know, man, because these are two different types of medium, okay? A light novel is a book that you can read on your own. It'll take hours for you to read the entirety of the book. Because if you saw the manga of Year 2, Volume 1, by the way, Year 2, Volume 1 light novel into a manga, which had 3 volumes of the manga. That right there, if you take a look at the adaptation of the manga, the anime is doing it right. Because if you take a look at the pacing of the first Year 2 manga's adaptation, the artist's adaptation of Year 2, Volume 1 of the light novel, you'll know the anime is doing it right because of the pacing. Because that is the same formula that they are doing with the adaptation. They might have cut out some stuff, sure, but it doesn't hinder the story, the main plot story overall. I hope you all get something out of this video. I yap too much, I guess, and you guys probably don't want to hear me yap anymore because of me glazing and defending the series, the anime itself. I guess people just want to see the hate in it. If you want to see the hate in it, go watch other people hating on other series like One Punch Man Season 3. Because as mentioned, I say this every time, art is subjective, okay? We all have different opinions, just like in art. If you do not like the art, then you don't like the art. But if you love the art, then you love the art. That's simple as that. Not every art is a masterpiece to everyone's eyes. I am really satisfied with our snippets of Season 4. I'm actually really excited for it. So if you're not excited for it, go stick with the books, okay? Because I love all of the media of Clash of the Elite, especially, you know, that I got to reread the Year 2 first semester of the manga of Clash of the Elite. I've already read the light novel, so it's time for me to read the manga as well. Because so far, I'm loving the adaptation of the manga of Year 2. That is it for Clash of the Elite. As much as possible, stay educated. Don't get indoctrinated. As you all know, at this day and age, people are getting indoctrinated. Even little kids are getting indoctrinated. Even little kids are getting more bratty and way more arrogant than we were back in the day. So if you don't want to end up like those, then stay educated, you know? Be emotionally intelligent. Be critical about situations like this as well, okay? So yeah, anyway, hope you all enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is it for this video. I'm done yapping. Thank you guys. Bye. Peace.